going to engage mercenaries. I mean, that would be an extreme step, which it doesn't have the constitutional powers to do in the first instance. There have been reactions to all that. But it's useful to combat because the country is under siege. And this calls for all hands to be on deck. The villages where these persons are hiding, whether contiguous or otherwise, should also be brought into the security matrix to ensure that you smoke these persons out, make the access uncomfortable for them, and then as they seek to relocate, of course, their numbers would have declined considerably because you would have smoked them out. Look at the age bracket of the attackers on the Abuja Kaduna train service.
15, 18.
Well, they were told 17, 20, and so on and so forth. You have to ask yourself, they had weapons handling training before they were given those guns. Where did the weapons handling training take place?
Well, we'll keep talking about this thing on and on and on until solution is found. Thank you so much, Bayo, for coming.
Thank you for
It's a pleasure having you. We'll take a break right now. When we return, our conversation will begin. Don't go away.
As the world advances, Samuel Adegboyega University, Ogwa, Edo State, is poised to deliver world-class education rooted in strong academic traditions. In the colleges of law, basic and applied sciences, humanities, management and social sciences, Samuel Adegboyega University is building the next generation of leaders. Hurry now for 2021-2022 undergraduate and postgraduate admissions into any of our NUC fully accredited programs. Secure admission today in one of the fastest growing private universities in Africa. Also note that the university runs diploma, JUPEB, part-time and tuition-free programs. For more information, visit www.sau.edu.ng or call 0705 079 1226. Samuel Adegboyega University, to nurture for discipline and excellence.
Thank you for the rejections that taught me to keep striving. Thank you for the long hours that taught me discipline. Thank you for the knockdowns that taught me to bounce back, and for the unexpected victories that taught me to never give up. Thank you for making me who I am.
A new edition of TV Guide is out exclusively with Professor Umar Garba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
We have unveiled the 622 as a toll-free line through which consumers can be able to lodge their complaints. And we have introduced the 112 as the national emergency number.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA Television College Jos for the 2021-2022 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM. The courses available for application include film and television production, broadcast journalism, and television engineering technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects including English language and mathematics. For more information, please contact NTA Television College, Jos, or the marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. Registrar, Announcer. As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the NTA, and to kickstart our conversation, which is on scarcity and high cost of diesel, here is our correspondent Abdulsalam Jibril with a background report.
From an average price of 288 naira per litre in January this year, diesel now sells for more than 700 naira per litre across the country, causing widespread anxiety, especially for businesses that rely on the product to power generators for power supply. In recent weeks, the prices of petroleum products like diesel, premium motor spirit (PMS), and aviation fuel have been on the increase, which translated to increase in the cost of transportation. Experts in the energy sector have blamed the current increase on the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, as well as Nigeria's non-functional refineries. Unlike petrol, the Nigerian government does not subsidize diesel imports. As such, the pump price may yet go higher as the war in Europe continues to affect global markets.
Geopolitical tensions in Ukraine and Russia, prices of crude oil went up exponentially. When the crude oil prices rise to that level, it also affects the derivatives of crude oil. So prices of diesel also went up.
Most of the diesel and even fuel consumed in Nigeria is refined from crude oil in petroleum refineries abroad. Experts note that more and more vessels avoid Russian and Ukrainian shores over continued hostilities and sanctions slammed on Russia by most European countries and the United States. This development, they maintained, has continued to push up both the landing cost of PMS, aviation fuel, and diesel to an all-time high. Already, some operators in the hospitality industry are feeling the heat and warn that the escalating price of diesel could spell doom for the economy if not tackled soon. As the war between Russia and Ukraine has no end in sight, stakeholders in the energy sector have warned that the war would adversely affect global supply chain, as in the case of Nigeria, which depends on oil imports. What can be done to cushion the effects of the high cost of diesel on businesses, including the hospitality and tourism sector? Local refining capacity has been identified as a veritable measure that can lower the prices of diesel and ensure its availability. How can this be achieved going forward? Guests on the program will be speaking to issues on the high cost and scarcity of diesel across the country shortly.
Thank you very much, Abdulsalam Jibril, for that background. With us here in the studios to discuss this subject matter, I would like to welcome Senator Ita Enang, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs. Distinguished Senator, pleasure to have you again on Good Morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
Also here in the studios, Alhaji Umar Babakano Jada, National Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMA. Alhaji Umar Babakano, pleasure to have you this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
And also joining us via Zoom from Lagos, Olumide Adeshu is the Chairman, Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning. And the Zoom connection to Mr. Adeosun is superb at this time. So, Mr. Adeosun, let's begin this conversation with you. For many years, the diesel market in Nigeria was held up as the poster for what could happen if we had total deregulation of the downstream sector. It was often said that whenever there was scarcity or crisis in the petrol market, diesel was everywhere. And marketers and dealers and purchasers said, oh yeah, this is diesel available and we can buy. But the last few weeks, that story has changed dramatically. Diesel is scarce and the price has hit the roof and is still climbing up to the stratosphere. What has changed?
Thank you very much, and good morning again. The correspondent, I think, gave a very good overview where he showed that at the start, a short while ago, we were selling, we were all able to buy diesel at 288 naira. Today, anything short of 700, 600 naira will get you nowhere near it. The reality of the matter is that it's very unfortunate. It's absolutely disastrous for a country like Nigeria, where diesel actually drives a lot of the components. So let's take a look at what has happened. We spent most of 2020, majority of 2021, the world at large, spent that time not doing a lot of movement around, and costs, fuels, refineries had shut down. They were only just starting to come back on stream. A lot of specialty refineries have shut down. So even if we did not have the Ukraine conflict, we would still be in a position where the world was going through an adjustment, the 7-8 year cyclical adjustment. What has happened is that the Ukraine crisis has actually just accelerated everything. Some data to back that up: 65% of the diesel that is used in Europe and Africa comes from Russia. The embargoes and the sanctions mean that middle distillates in particular are hampered. Middle distillates are aviation fuel as well as diesel. So those two are trading at a higher premium to even PMS, which actually is readily available. So what's happened is that it's limited supply and really high demand. So we expect this tightness to continue for a while, not too long, hopefully, but for as long as there is a restriction into what can be obtained from Russia, this tightness will continue. Closer to home, because the bulk of our diesel is also imported, we are exposed to those shocks. It's not just us, it's everyone else. It's just unfortunate that there are a few other layers on top of the diesel situation in Nigeria that mean that we are probably even more adversely impacted. Most experts that I've spoken to, that I've listened to, are saying that we have, there's another quarter at least in this. It's in the interest of the world that Ukraine and Russia get to the table and bring an end to this conflict. But for as long as it's happening, and for as long as we are not actively producing in Nigeria yet commercial quantities of diesel, then the tightness will be with us. And what we really have to do is look at alternative ways to make sure that the shock to Nigerians isn't too much. But it's a global problem, and we have to really adjust to deal with it.
The global problem, I'm going to stay with you still, but it began in Nigeria before the Russia-Ukraine crisis. And, experts are talking about the implications on the economy. What are the multiplier effects?
Okay, so I mean, it's who knew that diesel was actually fuel that would drive the oil complex. The reality of the matter is that everything along the manufacturing value chain relies on diesel. We all use, all industries use generators to run their businesses. These run on diesel. Even the terminals that will receive the fuel, the PMS that we use to run the country uses diesel. The depots run on diesels. The terminals run on diesels. The petrol stations run on diesel. So the reality of the matter is that for operators across the line, it's really a time of high fixed operating costs, and those operating costs are, I mean, they are disruptive. They're really, it's shutting down businesses. So we can see that the impact pervades all aspects of life, and it's really going to require a lot of innovation and support from not just the government, but from also from and patience from the citizens as well. But the impact is quite widespread.
Mr. Adeosun, let me still stay with you. You mentioned an interesting number, namely that 65% of the diesel used in Europe and Africa comes from Russia. I'm just wondering, for Mormon, for instance, and for others who are also probably involved, excuse me, in the importation of diesel, we didn't have alternative markets, or are there special refineries designed for the refining of diesel, when we hear that diesel is probably at the base of refining, because you have to have a catalytic unit to get PMS? Aren't there other sources?
Yes, I mean, there are. In Nigeria, we're lucky to have a few modular refineries that produce diesel that's spec'd for Nigeria. The reality, however, is that because it's a global matter, and in Europe, so if you take that 65% number I mentioned earlier, and then you think that in Europe, there's almost an even consumption of diesel and petrol. It's almost the same. So we're not just competing with other African countries for this diesel. We're also competing with the Europeans themselves. A lot of cars in Europe currently run on diesel. So we're competing with these people as well. So what needs to happen is what we have in flight. We need to bring down refining locally. But just because we have additional refining capacity locally does not necessarily mean that the price of diesel in Nigeria will be significantly less, or will trade at a significant discount to the international market. Because I imagine that the people who have, and we're seeing it already, the local refineries are selling what they produce at import parity prices. So until we see a high output or throughput of refining capacity in country, it's very likely that we are going to be looking at competitive costs. So it then means that there are other elements that we have to look at to bring the cost down. So let's look at some of those elements. The tax on AGU, for instance, that's been contemplated, will be ill-timed if it was executed. Similarly, there is a tax that's been discussed around 0.5% on gross revenue for operators in the industry. Again, at 0.5% gross revenue, many industries will collapse. And we will see situations where even diesel queues become a thing as well. So we need to find the levers that we can pull at a government level, at a private sector level, locally, to slightly defray the impact of the costs or the cost impact. But the reality of the matter is that at home, until we start to produce more, we are likely to be on the receiving end of some of these shocks. But my personal estimation is that this is about a quarter out, and we will start to see supply get back into the chain. But it's going to take a bit longer for those prices to come down, because there are other associated costs, freights, everything that's associated with it has gone up.
All right. right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeosun. We're going to keep you on hold, but we'll return to you later in the conversation. Let's come back to the Abuja studios. We earlier introduced Senator Itainag and Umar Kano Jada, who is National Secretary of IPMAN. Alhaji Jada, let's come to you now. What has been the experience of your members with regard to accessing supplies of diesel?
Yeah, good morning, Nigerians. As you said earlier, generally, we cannot be able to access this product the way we used to be, simply because of the problems attached to maybe the imports, and then later on, which even though our constituents cannot be able to say much on that because of the imports, because we are not really concerned with the imports. We have the primary responsibility of maybe loading from the depots, from the coastal areas down to the hinterland and the other sites. So what's happening here is that whenever you go to a particular depot, in most cases we do get diesel, but it changes the price. The price changes. In some instances, within a day, you get to find out maybe there are two different prices. In the morning, it was a different price, and in the evening, it was a different price. I can recall vividly one of the previous weekends, as you said, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was around 400 on a blessed Friday. It became 450 on Saturday. It became 470 on Sunday. On Monday, it was 500. So the bottom line is that it's not easy for our members, because, it might interest you to know that for you to be an independent marketer, you must have a filling station and at least 2 trucks. Some of our members have 50. There are some who has even 1,000 trucks. So the thing is that apart from the manufacturing industry, which I can't say much on that, we are one of the people that are more affected, because we cannot do our business without trucking, and trucking cannot go without diesel. Moreover, if you come to see that, to realize we have a problem of this diesel problem ever since, simply because we have been paid the same rate, or maybe virtually we got an increment of not up to 50 to 60% rate in transport payment, and we have an increment of diesel with over 1,000%. Because I can recall maybe around 2006 and 7, we buy diesel at the rate of 30-something naira, and we are being paid maybe, for example, from Lagos to Yola, a rate of about 13 naira. That's at 2005. And today we are buying diesel at the rate of 700 naira, and we are still being paid 20 naira. We will thank the, the midstream, downstream, whatsoever, that added maybe just 25% early last month. That is the end of last month. I think end of February against March early. But it's still not enough. The thing is that we have been buying this product at the rate of maybe less than 14 naira, and we are being paid something that is commensurate to what we are still buying now at the rate of 700 naira, and we are still being paid something almost the same. So, and not to talk of that, only there's just a tip of an iceberg. If you come to see, so many things are tied to it. It's not only diesel that we need. We need so many things to run those trucks. So many things are tied to an extent that if you come to see that, you come to realize that our members are more or less one of the most hit in this diesel scarcity and the high cost of it.
Umar Babakano Jada, thank you so much for your opening comment. Let me now bring in Senator Ita Enang. The impact of the price hike of diesel is affecting every sector of Nigeria's economy and is worsened by the collapse of the electricity supply to Nigerians. Can you give us a scenario? If this continues, what's going to happen?
If this continues, it's going to be worse, and we just have to take steps to avoid it continuing. And the steps to avoid it continuing is I have been engaging with the Niger Delta community, let me call it community, or I have been engaging with the oil community, and I have been engaging with the informal sector of the oil community. We had that engagement March last year, 16th to 17th. And in this year, we had to do a 1-year post-review of the recommendations that we had at that conference. We had that conference here with the review of the review at Nikon Luxury Hotel behind the International Conference Center on the 23rd of last month. That's just about 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago. And in that conference, there were all the security agents were present, and we did that conference in collaboration with my office with the Presidential Amnesty Office. Because the question has now become not just economic question, but a security question. And in this, we brought in what they call the artisanal refiners. And they made their presentation. They made their presentation last year and said, look, we are giving the government amnesty. That is that they want the government to engage with them, that they can provide solution to this thing. Not that they can provide, but they provide solution to this thing. Now, this year, we included the security contractors, that is the contractors engaged by the major oil companies to protect the pipelines. And they said, look, there are consultants, they won't come. But then they said, look, the country is almost going down, so that they have to come out as security contractors and say what they see in the field. And so they sent a representation, and they told us that, look, it is almost impossible for Nigeria to keep saying that security manning of these pipelines and the situation will solve the problem that it will not solve. That there have to be a level of engagement with these persons because they have seen the quality of the product that are being produced by these people. And that is these artisanal refiners. And at that conference, they brought the two samples of the product they produce. They brought the other one they call the raw, which is the one they produce with what they call the pull fire. That's the one they put, I think, part of the first phase of the product under the boiler. I mean, under the basin, or whatever they call it, and it generates fire and it cooks the thing. And then the one they now produce with what they call boiler, which is sometimes they use gas, and the other one they use electricity. They use generator to produce. And you see how clean the other one is. And that, look, that these people have gone sophisticated enough that they should be engaged with. Now, the man said, look, at that conference, the Chief of Army Staff representative was there, Chief of the Naval Staff was there, Civil Defense was there at the conference here in Abuja. But meanwhile, let me say that they have warned me that they will never come to Abuja again. That anytime we need them, we will have to come to the creeks to meet them. We've agreed. All of them were there. And they said, look, we've had these challenges. Now, what is the cost of diesel now? The presentation there showed that the cost of diesel when they produce, he said that diesel, when they produce at that level and give, that it is 29 naira per liter. And the actual, the practitioners who were there said, look, it is not 29 naira, that it is 18 to 19 naira per liter. What we are paying 700 naira here. Now, that was at a conference at the Hilton here, at the Nikon Luxury here, 2 weeks ago in Abuja, in the presence of security agencies and government agents. Now they said, look, we are producing this thing, we are hiding to produce, and we are selling. And that what brings up the cost is, if you buy it from us, at that price, if you buy it from us, depending on the quantity, if you are buying a drum, the price comes down. If you are buying in a truck, if they are filling a truck for you, the price comes lower. If they are filling a vessel, that is this flat bottom vessel, which they produce at their base, at their camp, fill at that flat bottom vessel which goes flat, it doesn't need to have in the creeks, it doesn't need to have a depth. And it goes to the mother vessel in the about 10 nautical miles away from where they're producing, away from the shore. They sell that one to you at between 10 to 13 naira per liter. I repeat, 10 to 13 naira per liter, because you are buying a large quantity and the cost of transportation of that small vessel, what they call I think batch or something, takes to the mother vessel, and that vessel is at the high sea. And what is even the important thing about this mother vessel? The mother vessel is a big vessel which claims, and I repeat again, claims that it is the vessel that is importing product from abroad. They come and then stand there, and when they load, when these people have produced, take from the flat bottom vessel, the barges, to it, and it's enough. And the person who has that mother vessel has a license or import license from NNPC, and he has enough product of that quantity. He now brings it to the Nigerian shore and uploads it and takes subsidy. Yes. Now, this is what happens. This is what was said to the Nigerian government in the eyes and mouth and ears of the Nigerian government before the government. So, if we have this situation, today is 3rd, I think I'm correct, or 4th.
4th.
On the 1st, that is on Friday, I was in Uyo. And in the Niger Delta, you don't have the cost of diesel at this because the people give you, if they are giving you a drum contains 280 liters. 280 liters in actual fact, which stops at that level. But if they don't allow space for air, they fill it up to 300 liters. That drum is sold at 55 naira, 55,000, which is about, I can't do the mathematics well, which is not very high if you calculate it, Now, if they are bringing that one drum alone from their base, either in Ibaka or in Ibono or in any of those other places, I'm sorry that I have to do this. I have to get to this detail.
I don't think you need to apologize.
Please, no, yes. If you are bringing 5 or 6 drums, your price gets less. If you're asking for one drum, because that vehicle is carrying only that one drum to you, it comes at a lesser price. You understand? Now, I have given this detail. What is the import of this? The import of this is that we are ostriching. The government knows this. When there is a war situation, like I said, arms in Ukraine are given to every able young man and woman who is able to, and they show you emergency. We are an emergency. How did Biafra survive? I've said it here. How did Biafra survive? Because they were producing from this in the 70s, 68, 70, 69, 70. If those technologies have been improved now, they are no more even using full fire again. They are using sophisticated means of production. And they are producing diesel, they are producing kerosene, they are producing petrol. And these things, why we're even having scarcity, is not because of any other reason. We are having scarcity because those who are doing these artisanal refineries and what their products refined are now being supplied to other West African countries. And they earn in dollars. The government has to engage with them. The people in the petroleum family in this country know about it. And I repeat it 100 times. They know about it. And they are experts in it. Now, how can we contain this? And the country is going down. Every person who is involved in this should know that one day our body will contribute to the nutrients of the earth. If you know that you will die one day, and you still know this, the other day, the Minister of Finance, in desperation, was reported to have said that we are likely to raise funds from the Eurobond window to pay subsidy. How can we deal with a country like this? Now, at the real port of these places, a drum sells at between 8,000 and 9,000. This drum that is brought to the other places at 55, 40,000 is sold between 8, 9, or 10,000 per drum. And what raises the price to about 40 naira or 55 naira per liter is the cost of transportation from where they are taking to where they're supplying to you. And if you go to most of these supply points at the creeks, at the port, you find trucks that are standing there that are loading and going to Adamawa, going to the different parts. They do their settlement of the institutions and they move on. How can we know that this is happening and then we are not engaging? I appreciate what His Excellency Governor Wike did by saying, look, don't produce here. But I want to say that Wike knows more than this. Every governor, the governor of Rivers, the governor of Akwa Ibom, the governor of Delta, the governor of Bayelsa know more than this. And what His Excellency Governor Wike did seems to me to simply have said, don't spoil my environment. Get out and go away. Those persons have gone away. They have not gone off. They have gone away from their locations, but they have gone to more secure locations where the military can't get them. Now, we've been able to recover the air in Rivers, but we've not recovered the Nigerian economy. It is not expected that somebody like me in government would speak this. But must we all keep quiet till we all get consumed? No. And I say the people in government, the people in the petroleum family know about this. I've been engaging with them. I've engaged with them. In this conference we had 2 weeks ago, the representative of petroleum downstream and midstream was there. And they said, 2 days after, we're going to hold a meeting over it. Because they are overwhelmed. Some of them are new. They are overwhelmed by this. The simple solution to this matter will be for us to engage with these persons, have a reversal of the situation. You have a refinery in Tema, Ghana. Ghana is not yet producing enough quantity or something that could feed their refinery. And it is the product from here that fits those refineries. And what we term illegal here is legal there. In fact, they are not concerned. All they need is the product. The time we're having all the long lines here in Abuja and other parts of the country, we weren't having in those countries. How does Congo have their product? How does Equatorial Guinea? Not much of it. How does Togo? How does all these other countries? Let us engage our diplomatic community, the embassies, our high commissions in those countries. There is always the economic desk. There is the NIA desk, National Intelligence Agency desk. There is the security desk in those countries, in the embassies of those countries. Let them tell the truth. And I have been privileged to read a few of the intels. They write daily. They write periodically on this. Nigeria has to come to a truth with itself. The security agencies can't do all. And of course, if you consider the cost of the security and what we are thinking to employ to solve this problem, it is higher than engaging with these persons. We talk of the Nigerian blue economy. The blue economy is being destroyed by the activities of these persons who throw away the debris into the seas, and so you can't harvest fish and other things from the sea. Therefore, the only thing is for us to take the advantage of the amnesty, quote unquote, these persons have given. What was the history of the amnesty program in 2007, 2009, 2008, 2009 under Yaradua? It was, look, we just want peace. And what that peace was to enable us have product and get these boys out of the creeks and lay down arms. These boys have been trained by the Amnesty Office, trained by Niger Delta Development, trained in the different universities. Lest I forget, the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of the University of Petroleum Resources, Efurum, was there at that conference. The Vice Chancellor, he was there. And he confirmed that, and then the other one, the Provost or the Principal of the Warri Petroleum Trading Institute was there. All these things are fabricated by persons. And the Vice Chancellor said, look, most of these persons were graduates of the university, and that he is capable as a university to train most of these artisanal refiners to do more and more better product. A Vice Chancellor, he came there. We invited him. There is a refinery in Ahmadu Bello University. The professor is willing. He does that. And these people don't even need professors again. They have the catalytic cracking capacity produced by the graduates of the different universities which we have trained. It is available everywhere. So the question that, oh, you no more can crack it is no more there. They crack it because they have the capacity. All those who established the old refineries are gone. These are the new brains in the new refining method. So the answer is engagement. We can't watch the economy go down. Meanwhile, we have a solution just in front of us. And these people have come out and said, Nami, and you're not even engaging in them. Every war ends on the table. Even the Ukraine-Russia war ends on the table. The Nigerian civil war ended on the table. Therefore, the solution lies in engaging with these persons. We're still working, myself and my office and the Amnesty office. We're going to escalate this. And it was in the full glare of the television and all this thing. So it wasn't a secret. Thank you very much.
So how safe and effective is it to patronize these artisanal refineries?
It's safe in terms of security or in terms of the product?
The product.
In terms of the product, from the standpoint of the security contractors' representatives, most of these products are cleaner and better than the alleged imported products. In fact, one of them told me that when some of the major contractors in the construction company, as at today, just investigate, most of the major road contractors, the foreign firms and local firms, still give LPO, is it job order, at 255 and 275 naira per liter for them to supply diesel to the company. How much is diesel now? 700. But the company will give you this LPO at 275, knowing that you can make 100 or 200% out of it. It is this product that is being supplied to all the contracting companies that are doing roads that are using for their vessels. And to go further, part of the debris is now being used for bitumen, tar. They also have a different that they have drum there they put, and they take part of it, and they will bill us in the bill of quantities in the contract that they are going to import bitumen. So these products are safe. Oh, what do we need to do? What we can do is to allow the government to establish refinery parks, and then you allow Standard Organization of Nigeria, and then the other certifying agencies. You allow National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. I have had a meeting with the Honorable Minister of Science and Innovation, on this. And in every conference that we have, the Ministry of Science and Innovation has always sent a representation. And I led a team that went to the minister, Onu, Dr. Onu, the minister. And we made a presentation on this matter to them, to the minister, led by me. That was last year or earlier, and this. And so we try to engage with Nasene. It is for government to get this to materialize and get, So this product is good. Sometimes they take this product to go and blend to make better the product that these people say they have imported. They take it from the flat bottom vessel, the barges, the small barges, to go and put it there to even blend and bring a better quality. At this conference, they brought in bottles, the different, they brought the one that they use diesel generator to produce now. And they brought the one they use the pool fire. That is the first phase of the product in. And they have the chemicals. The chemicals are now being produced in Nigeria by Nigerians. But they will still say they are importing the chemicals because somebody wants to make money. Thank you.
Senator Itana, we've allowed you this free reign to give us an insight into what is happening. Quite a great deal of revelation there. Let's go back to Mr. Adeosun. Mr. Adeosun, I would like you to respond to what we are hearing this morning about, if you like, the parallel oil and gas economy that we appear to be operating.
Thank you. And again, I'd like to thank Senator Ita for some of the insights that he brought on there. The reality of the matter is that it's not a one solution for Nigeria. If we aggregate everything that we've heard here today, it's very obvious what needs to happen. At a very local level, at a very grassroots level, you have what has been described as the artisanal refineries. There are a fair number of them. The challenge there will be around two things. One, certification of products, as has already been asked. How do we make sure that these products are certified and they're safe? We know they're widely in use anyway. Then you have the next level up, which is the modular refineries. These are a bit more organized. They have to go through the length and breadth of the NMDPRA certification authorization process. They are capable of producing anywhere between 1,000 or refining anywhere between 1,000 to 30,000 liters a day. And there are a few of them in existence already and are already putting products into the marketplace. The challenge again is cost. Many of these people they will not remove the cost of freight, right? Because they will charge that as part of their entrepreneurial license, if you like. So just because I can produce and sell at 200 in country, meanwhile the import parity price is 600. Unfortunately, these guys will trade at a small discount. So you have that. Then you start to get into the realm of the kind of scale that's really going to help Nigeria and the region, which is the conventional refineries. There are one or two of those going on. Some of them we're hearing will be on stream this year. So if we look at everything if you look at the portfolio of solutions there, so from the artisanal, that has its place and that has its use. We just need to get organized and have the authorities legitimize it rather than shut it all down completely. The modular refineries are in place and they provide localized solutions so that we're not transporting fuel up and down the country. So the solutions are there, and then we kind of need the fiscal landscape to make it work. It's all agencies. But if we are being taxed differently, or if it is counterproductive for anybody to be manufacturing diesel or selling diesel in this country, then it will not make sense. And I'm specifically speaking to the applicability of VAT on AGO, as was put back in on the 2021 order. That needs to be looked at. We need the right fiscal regime. Otherwise, all these other entrepreneurial activities will not do much. But it sounds to me like in the near term, in terms of what is actually going to solve the problem whilst the rest of the world solves its problem, we really need to look at the ecosystem of local production, local refining for AGO, and see how that will help. But my sense is that, considering that as a country we do about 4 billion liters of AGO per annum, as compared to 20 plus billion liters of PMS, it's going to be difficult to scale at the level that we need locally, at least in the near term. But we spent the next cycle really looking at how we legitimize these artisanal refineries, promote the modular refineries, and accelerate the development of these conventional refineries. Then we may have a solution there. The good things that we have in our favor are that there is not a lot of refining complexity required for our Bonny Light. There isn't, and that's why the artisanal refineries are working, are producing and are in use, because it's low sulfur. You're not doing a lot of desulfurification. The fractionation requirements are less. You don't need a tall VCC, like has been described for the conventionals. So it's there, and it's a shame that if we have these solutions sitting at home in front of us, and we're not able to add it to the mix in a way that's legitimate, it's slightly problematic. And so those are the areas that I think the industry needs to look at, particularly the regulators, to see how we can fold in some of these additional demands. But my perspective is that the demand, the supply is not going to be enough to move the needle, but every little helps, right? So we can start there.
So, Lumide, I'm still going to stay with you. Is it because these artisanal refineries and those who refine these products are not, some of them do not have a degree in petroleum refining or anything, because Nigeria is a country that depends a lot on paper qualification? Do you think government is not giving attention to them because of that?
It's a fair perspective, and I mean, if we look at it coldly and say, okay, well, we have refineries that are able to produce diesel that meet the Nigerian specification. Again, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if the senator was able to appraise that, but I think he said that they were even better in some instances. So if you have the situation where you are producing this thing locally at lower cost, without any freight charges, without any import charges, then it's important that we are able to localize the requirements around it. Look, many of these refineries that are abroad are not operated by degree people either outside of Nigeria. And for some of the modular refineries that I've seen in Nigeria that are legitimate, that have authorities to construct and licenses to operate issued by the NMDPRA, I see them and I go to them and I see that it's literally young people running them. 2-3 bright young people are running these things. So refining crude oil to make diesel, to make fuel oil it couldn't be further from rocket science than it needs to be. And to the extent that there are people of influence that can really start to shape what those requirements are for these local refineries to have, then fine, that gives us one leg, but that's still one leg of the solution. And it doesn't give us all of the scale we need, but at least it will give us refining points along the West African, along at least the Nigerian coastline. And if we can get into that kind of space, and that starts to provide for about 400 million liters of HGO, great. We add that to the other sources, and we're starting to look at energy independence.
Okay. Once again, Mr. Adeosun, we appreciate your response. Let's come back to the Abuja studios. Umar Babakano, you've listened to Senator Itayanang and Mr. Adeosun. I mean, it's like the solution we are looking for, say in Ukraine, is right here under our nose. What is your response to what you've heard this morning, assuming it is news to you?
Yeah, I will say from what I heard from distinguished senator, it's a welcome and a good development, because we as marketers, for you to be an independent marketer, you have to be registered. You have to get registered with the government. So you cannot just go to the maybe local refiners and whatsoever to start buying. So if at all, maybe as he said, engagement will they like put a platform to get these people engaged and maybe get a very good refining capacity. Because the thing is that while refining locally, there are so many things that ought to have come out of that crude oil you can't get, because I think you get over 20 types of products. But when you are refining locally or maybe at a low level, you cannot be able to get maybe the best out of it. So, but it's still a good and a welcome development at least. So after the engagement, it will then be after they are refining, then they like maybe, as he said, sell it to the government officially, rather than giving some people with just maybe briefcase marketers. They have only a license or whatsoever. They will go and bring a ship, start getting the badges, and then getting it from the local refineries and selling back our product to us, which they bought at 10, 15, or maybe high, starting at to come and be selling for us at the rate of 600 naira or whatsoever. Because I know the last time we visited on Friday, the prices at the depots are over 650, something like between 620 something to 650. So the things that they'll go and buy at maybe 30, 40, highest 15 naira and come and start selling it to us at the rate of 600 and so. And in some cases, as he said, collecting subsidies, which I think it's really very disturbing. You cannot understand the way some people think. How can you go and buy this from these artisanal refiners? There was a time I was trying to even justify them simply because if you see the way they are suffering and some things. But the thing is that since it is not legal, it is against the law of the land. You cannot just say fine, yes, they are doing the right thing. But the thing is that if you see the way they suffer, sometimes you can even justify buying whatsoever from them. So, and as I said, as marketers, registered marketers, we cannot go and buy from them. Because if at all, as he's saying, you can get it at maybe 50 or whatsoever, maybe 15 naira. And the highest, as we have been pounding on maybe freight whatsoever, maybe even put another 15 naira, making it 100 naira. If you come and sell it at 150, you are making 50%. If you come and sell it even 200 naira, you are making 100% profit, which is far more better than what the government is giving us. As I told you here earlier, we have been given a 9 naira margin since 2005 up till today. 9 naira margin. Then, at 2005, we buy petrol at the rate of around 44 naira. That's 2 million per truck. And then, they give us a margin of 9 naira times 4, that 40,000 liters will give you around 360,000 naira. That 360,000 naira at 2005, a dollar was around 45 to 50 naira still. So you can get up to $9,000 margin. Today we are buying it at the same rate of over 7 to 8 million, and we still get a margin of that's 360,000 naira, which is less than $600 today. So the thing is that it's a two-edged sword, especially to my own constituents. It's not easy. That's why over 50% of our people are thrown out of market simply because of the on level business level playing ground. We are squeezed to an extent that we are just trying to survive. And the worst thing about it is that for a filling station, if I told you have a house, you can change it to be a primary school or a hospital or something. For a filling station, the highest thing you do is it's just maybe to dry farm produce. That's the best you can do at the filling station. And moreover, a filling station costs more than building a normal house. So the thing is that from my own side, from our members are really suffering. So I think if at all we get these things, the engagement and everything, it will be a very good and panacea to all.
Well, the truth is being said today. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll take a break now. When we return and the program begins to wind down, we'll be talking about the causative factors and how government can address it.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
Do you run a breast or cervical cancer service? Are you a private or public laboratory, clinic or hospital that offer any of breast imaging, cervical cancer screening, HPV vaccination, or other breast or cervical cancer services? Is your service a primary, secondary, or tertiary center located in any part of Nigeria, no matter how remotely located it is? If yes to any of these questions, then subscribe to the OCI Foundation's Savvy Breast app and become accessible and visible to millions of Nigerians. It is all for free. To subscribe, just type the Savvy Breast application form on Google or go to the OCI Foundation's page on www.ocifoundation.org and search for Serve a Breast application form. Complete the form and submit. And let millions of Nigerians patronize you, all for free. Become part of the OCI Foundation's quest to tackle breast and cervical cancers in Nigeria. And join us to rise by lifting up.
Finally, the hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to your leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
The counsel of our fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it, we run away from it.
Nigerian youth, let's build our nation together.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria. We're live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. All our three guests are still with us: Senator Itayanang, Jada, and Mr. Deoshun in our Lagos Network Center. I want to come back to distinguished Senator Itayanang. Senator Itayanang, well, you've talked about what I may refer to as the parallel petroleum economy in the country, and the revelations are quite stunning, if not shocking. But I do hear from time to time, and I'm sure those who put their ears to the ground do hear complaints. The first is that the artisanal refiners steal the crude that they refine, which is a loss to the producers and also to the country. And equally grievous is that they pollute the environment. But they are the ones who are saying, look, they've offered the government of the Federation amnesty to come and have a conversation with them. From the conference that you talked about, was there any conversation around the theft of crude oil? And are they willing to pay? Because some persons would argue that it is because they steal the crude that their prices are low.
Thank you very much. They take the crude, but they have offered the government that if you give us the crude, we will pay you the cost of the crude. Because what we are paying to the institutions to take it is higher than if we were paying it to you. There was a revelation made to me in the course of my inquiry. And in all this, when I engage with them, I don't do it alone. I bring in an officer of the, I request the SSS to send me, so the DG sends somebody. So there is somebody that is working with me on this, who hears the intelligence. I request the Inspector General of Police, and he sent somebody. I think one of the person is saying, I think he's either an AIG now or still a commissioner. He works with me on the committee when we are engaging with these people. They tell us that one of the camps, somewhere, in fact, in Okorite, in Akwa Ibom, the person that was operating, the body that was operating that camp was paying 400,000 naira to the institutions per night to produce about 8 to 10 trucks a night. This is real. And he said, look, and they're saying, look, instead of doing this, we can make this money available, pay the government really, and you can get this crude, and you give us the crude, and we pay to you. In fact, in the last discussion we had, they said, okay, if you don't want to give us the crude directly, allow us access the crude. We produce the product, and you take the products from us. When you take the refined product from us, either kerosene, petrol, diesel, you deduct the cost of the crude. You deduct tax. You deduct VAT from there. And then you now put it in the system. You can now charge the haulage, the cost. Because like I gave earlier, if you get the diesel at between 18, 20 naira per liter, what brings it to you, the cost of bringing it to you in any of these places is what makes it up to 40 naira per liter, which is sold finally at 700 naira. Now, so freight and all these elements are involved, and let me first break to appreciate Mr. Adeosun, because he's been very honest about this. And really, I think it's on everybody's neck now. He's been very honest about it. And my brother Jada, he's been very honest about it. And this is what we need about this conversation. I wish that people in the NNPC were honest like this, were real and realistic. In the first engagement with these persons, the MD of NNPC was present, Mele Kyari. He was present. And it was the question of amnesty was told to him in his presence directly. He was present with me in the meeting with these people. Now, so the government can avoid the question of crude theft. And if you allow them have this access, you will get the money paid to you. And so we will not be losing revenue. You will not be losing crude. It is not correct that we're not producing up to 2 million, 2.1, 2.5 million barrels per day. But what gets into the system recorded, perhaps by last week I read, was either 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million barrels. Now, from the point of production to when it gets to the point of, to the terminal of export, there is a lot of leakages. And these persons are, Adeosun raised the question that there is a crudity, the people are not graduates or something. I said, no. They are well-trained graduates. When we were in university, we had a challenge. I was a leader of the student union. I was deputy secretary of the student union and scribe of the student union parliament. We had a challenge from the police. And as small and young as we were, the police were after us. Our boys got into the laboratory and produced